let's talk about, I think this game deserves a little bit of mention, just a little bit, which is Seattle, San Francisco. And how much does this game really matter for both of these teams?
Oh, a ton.
And so let's go through why.
Well, okay, here my question to you. What do the Seahawks have other than Russell Wilson and home field advantage?
Not much. But this was kind of why I wanted to ask this question, because does it matter a ton for the Seahawks and matter way more for the Seahawks than it does for the 49ers?
Yes. But the issue to me, and Seattle right now, I believe if you look at their point differential, so they were only up by 26 going into the day, so the only point differential is like plus 12 this year.
No, it's really they're a very average team.
Yeah, they're a very average team. So really, what can this average team do with what's going for them, right? Well, okay, they can get a week off, right? We used to know Dwayne Brown might not play this week. He's going to get knee surgery. Today we had to watch George Fant and Jamarco Jones play left tackle for them. Chris Carson, he was their highest graded player today in terms of our plus minus or whatever. He's out, and he's probably going to be out week 17 per Pete Carroll. Metcalf, Lockett, all of them have been banged up at times. And then defensively, we saw Clowney didn't play. Quandre Diggs, who's been a very good addition, didn't play. These are guys, their defense isn't good fundamentally, but these guys that they've acquired have changed the variance, right? That game in San Francisco, Seattle does not win that game unless Jadeveon Clowney forces turnovers and gets sacks. Quandre Diggs, you're talking about 4 interceptions or whatever since, going, and coming into that backfield. Those games are different if there's not those turnovers. They can't play teams straight up. They need these players to be at their best. And I think if they have to play in the first round of the playoffs on the road, it's basically it for them.
I would agree. Whereas the Niners, I have no issue with them going on the road to the NFC East and beating the brakes off of one of those teams. I don't think that's an issue.
I think they would beat the Eagles. I think this is going to sound, old takes explode. I think they beat the Eagles 41-3 if they play the Eagles.
I think they would trounce any of those teams.
Dallas could be a team. Dallas is weird where you could catch them on their Rams game, in which case I think they would be back and forth. But on a bad day, they would beat the Cowboys worse than they beat the Eagles.
Because the Rams game mattered, but didn't really matter. In games that really matter, the Cowboys just come out and take a gigantic dump in the middle of the star, and that's exactly what would happen.
T.O. did that once too.
I mean, I'm looking at Russell Wilson today against the Cardinals, and the Cardinals defense is bad. But he was under pressure on 15 of 37 dropbacks. And this is the tough thing about Russell Wilson, is he's sensational from a clean pocket. But percentage of the time that you are clean matters, because he can only be Herculean under pressure every so often. That's the nature of pressure, right? It's unstable.
Yes.
So today he was 2 for 10 for 23 yards and took 5 sacks, and he was under pressure. And if you're just going to let him be under pressure on 15 to 20 dropbacks, that can happen.
Or if he's going to let himself, right? Because at this point in time,
sure, I think the right tackle, left tackle situation was bad enough.
He completed 0 passes over 20 yards downfield. He actually graded okay, but I think there was some drops there. The issue is that's the reason some quarterbacks have higher variance and some aren't, right? The pressure rate's pretty stable, right? How you perform under pressure is not so much, and if you invite more pressure, you're going to add variance, in a way that guys like Drew Brees do not.
So if we think about this game now, it's happening in Seattle, so they do have the home field there. But when I go back and I think about what happened in the meeting in San Francisco, the San Francisco 49ers, to me, now are a totally different team. In that game against Seattle, they had no receivers, right? They didn't have Kittle. Sanders got hurt.
I forgot that they didn't have Kittle, so that was Dwelley that was the tight end in that game?
It was Dwelley. It was Kendrick Bourne dropping passes left and right.
I forgot about that.
So there is a legit,
right.
I really feel as though the Niners in this game are a totally different team, whereas the Seahawks, to me, are a far weaker team.
Yeah, I'll push back just a little bit so Sanders played a little bit in that game, got hurt.
He did.
Yeah, and he got injured. Bourne was absolutely dreadful.
That's what made it worse, though. So he comes in, he plays. Everybody's, no one is prepared for him to be out. He goes out, and then if you remember the first couple of drives he was in there, Boog was having an apparition. Getting the stigmata every time that Emmanuel Sanders was running free over the middle.
Yeah, and some of these were dropped, but Jimmy G was 4 of 19 throwing the ball over 10 yards on field in that game. Like
it was terrible,
and some of them were dropped, but some of them. And the thing is, it's like so.
But I don't think you can't put it all on Jimmy G. Like these guys looked like they could never run a route before.
That's true. And a lot of his bad grade was under pressure. He had a 7.5 passer rating on the 18 pressure dropbacks. So again, does this come down to how healthy the Seahawks are? Because I think today came 100% down to how healthy the Seahawks were. Like without Brown, without Clowney, without Diggs. Even like Shaquille Griffin was injured last week, came back and played. Like I think it has a lot to do with how healthy. Seattle is, because if they're healthy, I do think that they have enough stars to keep this game close.
Interesting.
If Jimmy G is as high, if Jimmy G plays like he did against New Orleans, this game's over in the first quarter. But he plays enough high variance games to keep the other team in the game.
I don't think it matters how healthy Seattle is. This is all about the Niners. The Niners are a better team through and through.
I agree.
They have the better coaching. They have just all of their players are better at all the positions, except for the quarterback. But the problem for Russell Wilson is that the rest of his players are so bad that he's not going to be, and his coaching is subpar compared to what the Niners have. That he is
they went to set up a 52-yard field goal on 4th and 1. Got to delay a game on purpose and then punted. Exactly
my point. And I think Shanahan has proven over the past couple of weeks against teams that he thinks are legit, he will go for it. And I hope he believes that against the Seahawks. So let me finish my point, though. You said it's the Seahawks being healthy. It has nothing to do with that, because if the Niners are healthy, they are such a better team that it doesn't matter where they're playing. They can come in and just roll over the Seahawks.
Okay. Because I think the issue is going to be that numbers-wise, like if you just grade all the players, look at ELO, you look at quarterback, EPA probably not so much. We're going to talk about where the number is, but I think numerically we're going to be on Seattle this week.
Because of the quarterback.
And
because people have watched. The unfortunate thing is that Seattle lost to Arizona. That's the unfortunate piece, because people are going to overreact to that.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching the PFF YouTube channel. And if you want to subscribe, all you have to do is push the button. Don't forget everything you get. A little fantasy, push the button. A little green line for the gambling aspects of the game, push the button. College football, push the button. The YouTube channel from PFF.